do that, and you're going to bring a deck that isn't good against it, well, you've made a huge mistake. I don't think that Riku's doing that here. I think that he knows exactly what he's signing up for, and he may be happy to see the matchup. Let's see how it plays out as we get underway here in this decider. Again, both of these players vying for a really, I mean, at this point, the last available slot for them, Matt Sperling has a pretty good stranglehold on it. Right now, he's 4 matches clear of anybody else, and that's going to make it very difficult. Even if he just goes 50-50, the chances that he gets, remember, he has to get knocked down to 3rd in order to not get the spot. So at least a tie for 2nd is really well within reach for him. But these two are looking for that 2nd slot as we see Youthful Valkyrie hit the stack here.
White creatures, fair ones, until they're not fair. This is like what I said the last match we covered. You go ahead over there with your brainstorms. Feel free. I got my average to below average white creatures that work very well together, and we'll figure it out from there. So here we go.
Here's an uncommon. By the way, I will say a 2/4 flyer is already kind of a problem for Utah, right? Like when your main plan is around Arclight Phoenix, even getting the Sprite Dragons and stuff up to speed takes at least a turn to get it up to 4/4.
Look, I'm also going to say, you don't just roll out of bed and register Youthful Valkyrie, okay? You don't just go,
it's true.
I guess I'm just playing for like Worlds qualification and a bunch of other stuff. What do you guys think? Youthful Valkyrie? Like, you got to be pretty sure about this decision. And so far, 2-0 in the pod. And what I believe is a good matchup, because again, I can't imagine showing up to this weekend knowing that Izzet Phoenix is a thing and then just going like, my matchup is bad, I hope I don't get paired against it. I just don't believe that's the case here for Kumagai.
I'm with you. No way. He's too good to show up just praying that something works out. Really nice turn here for Yuta Takahashi, by the way. He has the Lightning Axe to get a card out of his hand, but he had already put the Arclight Phoenix into the graveyard with his Faithless Looting, and that means he gets to get it back here, playing 3 spells in 1 turn and chipping in already for 3, while the Valkyrie's only a 1/3. But here's a Coco Collected Company now.
Just one.
And what is he going to hit? Oh, and Yuta Takahashi is not happy about what he saw. He put his hands together, maybe a quick prayer to the magic gods and said, don't hit. But it was a nice one there, or at least a decent one. He hit just 1 card, actually?
Yeah, just Skyclave Apparition. So not the best of the bunch, but the Apparition took care of the Phoenix. And now we got another Apparition here that could take care of the Crackling Drake. So that 2/2... which has had a huge impact on Magic across modern, like basically every format. Standard. I mean, we've seen Skyclave Apparition help put White back on the map after what feels like a decade of irrelevance. So,
dude, that card's sweet in Cube.
Yeah, it's actually really, really good in Cube.
It's really good in Cube. Yeah. Like, it's one of the few White cards I'm actually like vaguely interested in.
Ugh. Look at this iteration.
Wow. He's going to be glad that these lands are no longer on top of his library, but a bit of a brick here for Yuta as he sees triple lands off the iteration. So now I wonder if Yuta was actually happy that Kumagai only hit 1 card there, or whether he was a little bummed because that 1 card that he hit was the one that took out his Phoenix.
Maybe a combination of the two?
Yeah. It's really interesting, right? Because like, you got to be thrilled if your opponent only hits 1 card. Wow, Stormwing Entity putting 2 more lands on the bottom here for Takahashi. But at the same time, the fact that it actually got it. All right, here's another big spin, and you see him praying to the gods. And look at that. Another 1 hit here for Riku Kumagai, and he is coming up light on the Collected Companies. This game could be over right now.
These are awful companies. These are some of the worst Collected Companies I've ever seen. I mean, the Skyclave Apparition was nice in that it killed an Arclight Phoenix, but 4 mana for a Selfless Savior in a deck that has 28 creatures? This is awkward.
Wow. So back-to-back bad Collected Companies here for Riku Kumagai, much to the joy of one Yuta Takahashi, but he still got work to do here because, again, that first Skyclave Apparition did take out a Phoenix, and it's still on the battlefield. It's just hanging out. So that hasn't come back yet. And the Selfless Savior, it actually does affect the board here, but again, the game could be over, so Yuta's going to be happy.
You do make it through. I mean, this is what this deck does, right? This deck can see a million cards.
There's a Magma Spray.
You do make a really, really good point insofar as this Selfless Savior is better than it appears. Yes, it was not a good Collected Company, but that does do a nice job of protecting the Skyclave Apparitions. right? And I think that actually matters a little bit in this situation.
Right. Most of Yuta's removal is burn based, red based burn. He does have, as you see in his hand, the Brazen Borrower. The petty theft side of that, can get around indestructible effects. But even then, if you're returning a Skyclave Apparition to hand, well, you can just play it again. And you do see Magma Spray here.
And do we want to attack? I mean, he's thinking about queuing it up. The other thing about this Bant Company deck that's slanted towards Angels is it can gain a lot of life. That's actually kind of come to the appeal with certain builds of this deck. So,
yeah, we haven't seen that side of it because it's in his hand. But those cards, it's capable of gaining a lot of life. Like, you're not going to get burned out very often with a deck like this. Another Selfless Savior off the top of the library here as well.
So here
comes Linvala.
Yep.
And a Savior. I mean, the shields are up now. Yeah. Getting in for 5, and we're not going to see Takahashi gain life anytime soon. So his life total is down to 9, and it's going to stay there.
This is the first time in me doing coverage where I've had to check for a full party.
Oh, God.
I'm just.
Oh, my God. You're right. I forgot about that.
Forgot that party was a thing. Just checking for the party here. Doesn't look like there's a full party, but I actually have to think about it now.
Funny. All right. So there's a Sprite Dragon, which obviously has great potential to grow.
Yep. You have to imagine Petty Theft is going to work itself into things here momentarily. I mean, it's a great solution to a lot of what's going on here. I guess it's just what's the target here for Takahashi? Okay. This is just your classic Petty Theft targeting Youthful Valkyrie. This is just everyday stuff.
Historic in a nutshell.
Yeah, this is just, we've been doing this for 10 plus years. This is just business as usual.
Oh, that's funny. What a bizarre matchup. The Youthful Valkyrie is really just kind of throwing me off. It's just, what is going on? All right, we are going to see Linvala get sacrificed, though. The second ability doesn't care about party at all. Choose hexproof or indestructible creatures you control gain that ability until end of turn.
All right, we're done with party time.
Yeah, and that's gonna effectively counter the Brazen Borrower as well as the Petty Theft. So Kumagai getting a little bit of extra value there by trading off his 3-drop. Here's Faithless Looting now for Takahashi. He's going to put, look at that.
He's just loading up on their removal now. He's got what he believes is enough good like creatures in the battlefield. He feels good about that. So now let's just load up on removal. Fry will be useful here. Magma Spray will be useful, ideally, to work through these Selfless Saviors.
And that's what he's going to have to do, because both Fry and Magma Spray are just going to eat Selfless Savior activations. And then, but it's a house of cards, right? I mean, if he can find one more way and start knocking out the apparitions, it starts to get a little ugly. And by the way, we now see Kumagai cashing in one of his saviors just to save some life. He's going to block with Valkyrie, give it indestructible, and just soak up the hit from the Stormwing entity as the turn gets passed. And there's another savior to replace the one that just died.
Okay. I mean, this is brutal because in some respects, I feel like, if these collecting companies were a little better, I mean, this game, the dynamic of this game could have been significantly different, but we are in like a alternate universe right now.
Yeah, it feels like it benefited us, you and I said, because we get a much more exciting game. If those collected companies had just been hammers, I don't think that YouTube would have been able to keep up.
Yeah, this one just would have been over and done with. So here's a Fry now. Okay.
On the Valkyrie.
Yeah, this Valkyrie is the center of attention in this match.
It is. It's going to pick up another Selfless Savior trigger, too. It refuses to die. It's just a 2/4 flyer. That's all going right now.
Nothing crazy.
Oh, it's funny.
If there are any good attacks, I think you can just play Resplendent Angel and just pass the turn back, but you're not really snowballing or doing anything all that impressive. I suppose this goes up to a 3/5 now. 5 toughness is pretty nice against a deck that has, 1 copy of Fry, Lightning Axes, and Magma Sprays, but not in heavy numbers.
By the way, chat did the heavy lifting for us, as they always do. Said we lean on them so hard. They looked it up. There's actually not. You can't actually make full party with the deck. It's because of the dogs. They don't count. Sad.
Don't like that. That's bad deck building.
Agreed.
You gotta
go back to the drawing board, Riku Kumagai.
I know you're having a great weekend, like almost certainly going to qualify for Worlds, could win Worlds, but I don't know. We can't change one card in the deck. One thing for a little party application.
I'm with you. I blame Riku's testing partners. How about that?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, Stormwing Entity. The threats keep coming here for Yuta Takahashi. And of course, that Scry 2 will help as well, and doesn't want any part of those 2 cards. Still has to try to whittle his way all the way through. But the threats are coming on the other side as well. I wonder how important the Resplendent Angel is going to be.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're getting in with, a 5/5, a 4/4 that can turn into a 5/5, and a 3/2. I mean, there's got to be some blocking done here or the game ends, so...
This is big pressure here from Yuta Takahashi. He's really been able to keep applying pressure in a meaningful way. This is probably going to encourage Riku to do some type of a double block to try to take advantage of his Selfless Savior. But that Magma Spray in hand could be really problematic. Again, if Yuta gets to start taking out the apparitions, he could have creatures back on his side. And, anything would be good at this point, right? A 4/4 vanilla is good enough here to start just bashing.
Yeah, 4/4 vanilla is great. Would love to be on this battlefield against these pitiful white creatures. They're just not big enough yet. I mean, they have the ability to churn out and get much bigger and churn out more creatures with Resplendent Angel, but none of that stuff has happened yet. So looks like we found our blocks.
Yeah, the Resplendent Angel dream looks like it's about to end. I mean, I think Riku's just looking at his mana situation and saying, I need to find 2 more lands before I can even activate the dang thing. And I'm not gaining life currently. So he's going to throw it in front, and then that's going to actually pick up the thing. But look at this. The door opens up for that Magma Spray to finally hit something. And guess what it was? The Youthful Valkyrie.
Yeah, the Valkyrie, as it were.
And now Yuta has set this up nicely. He's got Ox of Agonis to add to the board. And this turn ended up being a real avalanche for him.
Yeah, this is a great turn because now more cards are coming. Graveyard's still full. Still have a Faithless Looting. I mean, not the best draws we've ever seen, but Opt is castable. That triggers Prowess. That grows Sprite Dragon. These are all good things. You're a little late to the party. Sky Apparition, it does have a target, but not a good enough one. So
yeah, wow. Yuta Takahashi is able to find a victory there after the 2 poor collected companies early in the game there from Riku. I have to keep looking back at that moment, that 2-turn sequence where he resolved 2 copies of collected company and only hit 1 thing off of each. Even though that 1 thing did end up mattering on board, you really need to hit 2 cards with it to make it worth it. And he just didn't.
No, he did not. So we see the sideboarding that's taking place. And so here's what's interesting, right? Because I felt coming into this that if Kumagai was playing this deck, he had a good matchup against Izzet Phoenix, right? And now what you're seeing here, Marshall, is really light sideboarding. 2 Shaper Sanctuary, 1 Declaration in stone, removing out a Resplendent Angel, a Glacial Fortress, notable sideboarding out of land, and a Glasspool Mimic. What that leads me to believe is, he could be sideboarding a lot heavier for this matchup if he felt it wasn't very good. He could have prepared more heavily. But again, I think has a deck that he believes is good for the matchup. Didn't play out that way in game number 1. We'll see here in at least 1 sideboarded game. But for Takahashi's side, you're seeing some bulldozers coming in here. 2 more copies of Fry, 2 Lava Coils, and 2 more copies of, I'm going to call it Petty Theft instead of Brazen Borrower, because I think that's what it's going to be used as more often in the matchup.
Yeah, that's a great call, Sid, because we did see how important that was. Riku ended up sacrificing Linvala in that case just to keep his creature on the battlefield through a Petty Theft. So let's get underway and see who can pick up the next game here. Yuta Takahashi just one away to breaking the tie here at 47 points apiece for these two, and they are currently tied for second. So right at the top of the standings, the first two places at the end of the weekend are going to qualify for Worlds and go in straight away. So about as much as we can put on the line here is on the line. And when you play against somebody who's, well, in this case, directly tied with you or anywhere near you, that is an absolute leverage point that you can take if you can pick up the win.
This is why I love Magic. You know, we're seeing these busted cards be played in Historic from the Mystical Archive, and you know we see Dimir Control, and we saw Time Warp for a while and everything. And now we just see the old 1-2 punch of Selfless Spirit into Youthful Valkyrie into the Bishop. Come
Bishop
and get you
Wings.
some.
Oh wow, off curve Bishop of Wings. So that's a thing.
Just keeping it as honest as possible. I cannot get enough.
Wow, that was interesting because Riku attacked with the Selfless Savior and Yuta blocked. That means one of them was wrong, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if that Selfless Savior is getting blocked and you see Kumagai is running his hands through his hair, yeah, I'd feel awful. If Takahashi's like, oh, I'd love that trade because I want to kill some of your stuff, I would not feel good about that.
Seriously, that does not feel good. And you're going to see why. There's a oh, look at this. He gets to discard this Phoenix here as well. Take out the Bishop of Wings, which is one of the great engines that he has access to, and get back 2 Phoenixes from the yard and bash for 6. A huge turn here for Yuta and a big turnaround for Riku. He may regret that attack.
Yep. That was a huge, huge turn for Takahashi. But the roadblocks here. It's called a
2-4.
It's called a 2-4 flyer.
Have you heard of it? Brainstorm looking for blue mana source here, as well as some other action for the Brazen Borrower, and we may see some aggression here with a similar play that we saw before, where there could be a Brazen Borrower attempted to return, I guess, the Youthful Valkyrie and just see the Linvala sacrificed for it. Double Brazen Borrower, though, does make things interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I mentioned during the sideboard games that this is more so petty theft than it is Brazen Borrower. Now, Brazen Borrower might come up as being a 3-1 flyer, but the ability to just bounce something and keep pressuring your opponent, which is what Takahashi is going to want to do here over the course of this game, that's what makes that card so powerful, that flexibility, that optionality. So curious to see what cards are going to go back here. It looks like he's thinking Crackling Drake, yeah, and then Brazen Borrower. So see you later on those.
I'm curious to see how aggressive he gets here. Because this is the other option, is just to attack with both. And then the assumption being, of course, that one of them will get blocked by the 2-4. You can then Magma Spray it, and you're going to get one of the creatures off the battlefield anyway.
Yeah, so here's Sprite Dragon, here's Magma Spray. We gotta save the youthful one.
Yeah, the 4 toughness on it, so critical here.
That's so youthful. There we go.
And it was worth saving here. So it's a 2-4 now on the battlefield, and it's kind of the last thing in the way. Here comes Resplendent Angel, but once again, Riku Kumagai a few mana away from being able to activate that and get that ball rolling. But critically, he does have 4 mana with the green source, so that Collected Company is going to be online. And no attack here from Yuta.
Yeah, this is going to look... Okay, so can we actually spin the wheel here and actually have something break his way?
Seriously.
I mean, been poking a little fun at the deck because it hasn't really been doing its thing. Can we see something good happen here? Sort of.
No, you can't.
Not really.
What is happening here? That's 3 Collected Companies and 3 cards total. Wow. He just can't seem to hit.
Yeah, now the petty thefting is going to happen. Not once, but twice. And now let's get these bozos out of the way. This 3/3 can't compete with this Sprite Dragon and this Crackling Drake. And if you want to trade with something, you can trade with an Arclight Phoenix. That'll be back later. It's probably just game over. It's too much.
In fact, it's going to be a chump block. This turn was just too strong here from Yuta. Down to 4 and facing multiple lethal threats is Riku Kumagai. And let's not forget, he's also down a game. And this could be the match.
It's brutal. I mean, you drew 3 companies, you resolved them all, and just yuck.
Wow.
Just yuck.
Got a total of 7 mana. Spent 12, got 7. That is not going to get the job done.
No, it is not.
And Yuta has to be thrilled with the outcome of those collected companies, because now he's on the precipice of taking down this match, as we see Riku Kumagai desperately trying to figure out anything he can do to stay alive.
Yeah, I don't even know what it looks like here, because these creatures just aren't very big in his hand. Yeah, I think he's coming to the same conclusion that we are, which is I don't have any outs here. There's no road for me to go down, and that's it.
And Yuta Takahashi takes the match 2-0 over Riku Kumagai with an impressive win. He needed to get a little bit lucky, but he also played very, very well and was able to finish the job there. My goodness sakes, that was a close one. And I do keep going back to that early attack with the Selfless Savior. You know, I sense a lot of regret there for Riku as well, because like I said, there's sometimes when these plays line up where somebody says, I offer something, and the other person says, I accept. And usually when that happens, somebody knows more than the other person, and it can't be good for both.
Yeah, I've been in that spot before. It's not a chump attack so much. It's more of like I don't think you're going to block with your Sprite Dragon, because your Sprite Dragon is just going to get bigger next turn, right? You're going to play a spell. It's going to be a 2/2, so I get my free point in here, and then I'll worry about the bigger Sprite Dragon later. And then when they block you, just well, I'm not going to say it live, but it's an expletive, perhaps, that one would say. It's like, oh no.
I can think of a few.
Oh no, you're blocked. Are you sure? You don't want to block, right?
Right.
No.
And then maybe that's when your brain goes, oh, but if they have something like this, then this would be really bad, and I really should have thought about this. And
yeah,
and, you know, it opens up different doors, because it is when a player makes an unconventional play like we saw there from Yuta, that, you know, kind of that's when your eyes open to what else could be possible here. Because like you said, the standard play is to just take it because of the potential of the Sprite Dragon.
Yeah, you just take the one. I get to sneak in my point of damage. Excuse me. You don't really care. Then your Sprite Dragon's bigger. Then I still have this I still have this dog over here to save my creatures. And then when you block, my entire house of cards crumbles down. I can't believe you blocked. I thought you wanted that Sprite Dragon. And then it's just what we saw, which is a lot of creatures dying and a lot of Phoenixes attacking. So does the game ultimately come down to that? I'm not entirely sure, because, I mean, at the end of the day, Yuta had a very, very good draw, but it definitely did matter. It definitely
matters. Every little decision counts. Yuta Takahashi picks up the win. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more from the last of the league weekends. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to coverage here of the League Weekend. That's Cedric Phillips. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. Thanks so much for coming along. We've got a game 3 to bring you, and it's between two players kind of in the middle of the pack, maybe making a chance at trying to get up to the top pod in their field by the end of the day here. And we've got some kind of interesting deck lists here to show you as well. Corey Burkhart, Control Master, has brought Esper Control, Zed.
Yeah, it's not Grixis like Corey loves. It's Esper instead, but that makes some sense because Esper gives you the ability to play Teferis and Dovin's Vetoes and Sweepers. And, White's actually just a pretty good supplement for control decks as opposed to red nowadays. Right. So this makes a lot of sense to me.
Same.
A lot of Planeswalkers, discard spells, spot removal, things that we're used to seeing. The main deck copies of Rest in Peace, maybe not something we're all used to seeing, but specific metagames will allow for it to make sense, especially when Arclight Phoenix is involved. So, okay, a pretty traditional Esper control strategy that we see time and time again, Marshall.
Yeah.
No real big news here.
No, but on the other side of the table, now I need you to brace yourself here, Cedric, because this might bring back some memories.
It does.
It's an Aetherworks Marvel deck in the hands of Shintaro Ishimura.
It does bring back some memories a little bit right now. So, Marvel, when it came to Historic, people were like, oh no, here we go, this nonsense again, right? And I was one of those people. I didn't really play Marvel when it was at its peak and it was winning tournaments and everything else. But I felt like, I don't know, Historic's got some pretty good cards and a lot of good 1-mana spells, and you get the whole energy engine again. You get Attune, you get Harnessed Lightning, you get Rogue Refiner, Hub, Puzzle Knot, like all these great cards, but it never really showed up. At least until right now, we're seeing Shintaro give this another try. What's the big card to hit with the Marvel? Well, it's Ulamog. That's your best hit. Only playing 3 copies because you don't want to draw it ever. You don't really have a great way to put it back, or at least you didn't pre-brainstorm. There are 4 copies in this deck now, thanks to the Mystical Archive. So, weird little deck going on here. It's not the Marvel of old, it's the Marvel of new. And you know what? We just watched Collected Company just embarrass itself 3 times. Let's see what happens here.
We're gonna see the Marvel spin on a whiff. Is that?
That's really hard to do.
Oh God, yeah. But oh man, I'm having flashbacks now with these Marvel cards I haven't commentated in forever, and I'm just looking at them like, oh my God, I remember you.
Locust God?
Is that the Locust God?
What the heck is that? Okay.
Wow, that was the Locust God in hand, but it got mulliganed.
Yeah, that threw both of us for a loop there. Okay.
I was into it.
I kind of was too, really.
Card was great.
What the heck is that doing in there? Okay. So, if you think of the standard version of Marvel many moons ago, and this is a very obvious statement, but I'll say it anyway, it did not have Brainstorm. So how does Brainstorm change things for this deck? I have to imagine that it makes it better as far as setting up Marvel, and if you draw the cards you don't want to draw, put them away. You don't have a ton of fetch lands. You just really only have Fabled Passage to kind of clear things away. I guess you do have a Tune with Ether as a shuffle effect. That's kind of nice. Okay.
Oh yeah, you do. That's funny.
That's kind of nice.
Is this the best Brainstorm deck?
Ooh, that's bold. I think they're all tied for first.
Or last in your mind.
Yes. All right, let's just get this party started with Little Bee Storm. Okay.
Right. So we saw Mulligan there from Shintaro, but maybe the Brainstorm can help get him out of the mess. You see, he's got kind of a good grindy hand, right? A lot of 2-for-1s built in with the Giant and the 2 Rogue Refiners that you see down there. So, yeah, there's some potential here for Shintaro to kind of fight through a control player like Corey Burkhart's answers.
Yeah, so this is a little awkward, right? Because we see a Brainstorm with the idea of if I find my 3rd land, I can cast Rogue Refiners and do stuff. But we didn't find a 3rd land. We found another Rogue Refiner, a Mystical Dispute, and a Marvel. So we're semi Brainstorm locked in a way,
yep.
But we also have a backup Brainstorm too. So put a couple cards back, draw your card for the turn, which you already know. You know the top card of your deck. Now afterward, you can Brainstorm again right now, and that's perfect.
There it is.
That's literal perfect.
Tune with Ether to shuffle plus the land that you wanted anyway. Wow.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic.
So now the curious question is how does Shintaro view the matchup here based on, what he decides to shuffle away?
Yeah, that is the big question. I mean, we're in game number 3 right now. What cards do you put away? Bone Crusher Giant doesn't seem like it's at its best right now. It's a card you're probably happy just to leave in the matchup, but like it's not something you really need in the matchup. So I can see putting that away. And then I think you probably want to keep Mystical Dispute given what you're up against. So you don't want to shuffle that one away. You probably don't want to put any lands away, but maybe you do. So, I mean, there are some decisions here. You're putting your namesake back into your deck, it looks like.
Yeah, so this to me says that Shintaro views at least this stage of the game as he's going to grind, right?
Okay.
He's going to get a bunch of 2-for-1s and try to just get a board state going, get some refiners down, maybe a Bone Crusher G, and then later he can find an Aetherworks Marvel. He doesn't have the perfect Marvel hand anyway. You know, you'd want to see a lot more in the way of energy making.
The thing I love about this Marvel deck is just kind of the new content that it got. Expressive Iteration's a very powerful card. Brainstorm's a very powerful card. It just kind of feels like there's a deck here. You just have to, I mean, there's just not a lot of people trying to find it right now. Shintaro is one of the people that's really trying to find it, and ideally to some success. Oh, that's a good draw. Ugh.
Narset Parter Avails on the stack and onto the battlefield. -2 here with no board state.
Ooh, okay.
It's a Locust God.
Yeah.
That is so sweet.
I'm just along for the ride right now. Like, I don't even know what's going to happen, but I just can't wait to find out.
Well, whatever happens, he's going to want to get rid of that Narset to really make the Locust God go. Interesting.
Yeah, we got to get that Narset off the battlefield somehow.
Yeah, I thought he would go with the Refiner, but he's going with the Hardcast Bone Crusher here.
Yeah, Refiner's in a tough spot right now because you don't draw a card because the Narset on the battlefield, and he's clearly putting a premium on that. I'm curious what Corey will be putting a premium on after seeing the hand.
Yeah, because of course that's true. The way I was thinking about it was if Corey wants to minus Narset, then you can use Stomp there.
True.
I suppose that means that if Corey decides not to, you're really in a pickle because you haven't used up much of your mana for the turn. And Shintaro just said, well, I'm not going to risk it.
It's like now a little brainstorming.
Brainstorm with Fabled Passage. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a win. And now you get to clearly Fatal Push this Bone Crusher out of the way too. And you get to Narset now.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a good turn.
Wow, this is a really good turn here for Burkhardt, and a really not good turn for Shintaro. Just had to hardcast the Bone Crusher and get it killed with the Narset still on the battlefield. Oh, and it's Aetherworks Marvel.
I don't know. Door's open.
Look at Shintaro laugh.
Shields are down. There's no counter spell. I think I just kind of want to resolve it. I know we got to get 4 more energy, but like
we're
ain't got
halfway
nothing
home.
else going on.
Oh, this is really funny.
Right? Let's look at the options. Locust God can't cast it. Rogue Refiner doesn't draw a card. Ajangantha to your hand doesn't even mean anything. Give me the artifact.
I'm kind of with you. The Rogue Refiner's 2 more energy, regardless of the card draw or not.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that whenever we want. We can do that later.
Right.
There it is.
Yeah, baby. Put Aetherworks Marvel on the stack. And Burkhardt's like, oh, no. Because you know how Corey is. Like, he will play you head-to-head for the grindy game. Like, he's like, I am down for that. I am going to outvalue you. But if you put an Aetherworks Marvel on the battlefield, it's like, oh, no. If they get to spin that thing, I could just lose on the spot.
Yeah. I mean, we got 4 more energy to get to. Now, do you want to add Ajangantha to your hand, or do you want to play Rogue Refiner? Are you drawing a card? No. But you can play Rogue Refiner with Dispute up, which doesn't sound so bad. You're 2 more energy closer to your goal. Oh, no, why not?
Okay, here comes Rogue Refiner on the stack. It's going to resolve, as we mentioned before, no card, but energy's up to 4.
If that Rogue Refiner dies, energy up to 5.
Oh, geez.
Then you find a Fabled Passage, energy up to 6. I'm just saying.
And then
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This has been a really bizarre game where poor Shintaro has had to make awkward off mana plays like 4 turns in a row. And it continues.
Let's see. Corey played that. Okay, so you're going to go after Narset. I think Corey's actually going to let this happen. I wasn't sure if Corey was going to cycle Shark Typhoon to try to trade with it, but the answer was no.
If you have 4/4, you could just eat the dang thing. I think Corey doesn't want to give him any energy.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think Corey's like, I'm not putting you up to 5 energy, and then you can like backdoor me some weird way. I'm just going to make some sharks and just try to kill you.
Exactly. That's exactly what he's doing. And you know what? That has a really good chance of working because Shintaro just hasn't done anything that's affected the board in multiple turns. You know, the Aetherworks Marvel hasn't actually done anything yet. Then he played a Rogue Refiner, which is literally just a 3/2, at least as far as the board is played out. And now he paid Gigantha tax, which doesn't do anything either. So this is a lot of spinning of the wheels here for Shintaro, and Corey Burkhart's looking to capitalize on that by taking the aggressive role from him. Oh no!
That's nice.
Oh
that's
no.
a nice draw step.
Oh, it's Ulamog in the hand here for Shintaro.
That's what I remember when I played Marvel.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
snapping that off.
Good God. All right. Well, Gigantha the Wellspring goes on the stack and also resolves.
Let's see. This is cycle for, is it 3 or 4?
It's 4, so it's lethal.
That's just lethal.
Yeah.
You don't get to see a single Marvel spin, really? Boo.
Not even enough energy to do it. And Shintaro just says GG as Corey Burkhart picks up the win and gives himself at least a shot to get into that top pod, which means that